So this was literally one of the scariest moments of my entire life. Like, the whole thing was just so crazy. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Stasia, and today's video is going to be a little bit of a story time. I just wanted to share what recently happened to me, what ended up being kind of one of the worst experiences I've ever been through. And that was a result of eating out, and it literally took me out. So I'm very happy to be able to sit here and tell my story because I tell you, while it was happening, I wasn't so sure. I felt like I was dying. So we are going to get into exactly what happened to me. But let me just say that there were definitely some life lessons that were learned that day. And I don't think that I'll be eating out anytime soon. So before we jump into today's video though, if it's the first time you're landing on my channel and you're wondering who the heck I am, well, like I mentioned before, my name's Stasia and I've recently lost 50 pounds following a whole food plant-based diet. I've actually struggled with my weight for a really long time, and it wasn't until recently that I've sort of been able to kind of connect the dots and, everything is just kind of clicking. So if you are also on a weight loss journey, then I do want to mention that right now I'm running an amazing sale on all of my weight loss recipe ebooks, that these were the exact recipes that I was eating to get the weight off. Especially my last one, it is pretty much the blueprint to how I got the weight off. So if you are also in need of some more oil-free, whole food plant-based recipes that are all super weight loss friendly, I can say that confidently because they did work for me, then be sure to check out this awesome book sale. All of my books right now are only $5. As I'm showing you now, these are some of my before and after pictures, when I was 50 pounds heavier compared to how I am now. And so when I tell you these recipes work, I am not exaggerating. They really, really work. So if you are in need of some more weight loss friendly recipes, then be sure to check out that link. I will have it posted in my description box below. All right, so on to the story. So going back just about 2 weeks ago, my family has the craziest week of the entire year. Seriously, it's even busier than Christmas. We just have a ton of family birthdays, Valentine's Day, anniversaries, everything bunched into this 1 week. So it's just a week of celebrating. So for my mom's birthday, we decided to do something nostalgic and take her to a family restaurant of ours that we used to go to all the time when we were kids. And so this restaurant is a really nice Italian restaurant. And of course I had, my reservations about that I was like, oh boy, I haven't eaten this stuff in probably over 20 years, and I was a little bit scared that it might be hard for me to resist, but I do what I always do and what I talk a lot about on my channel, and that is to make sure that I just eat before I go. So that night before we went, I was eating sweet potatoes. What I have, I know for sure I had sweet potatoes because I brought them to my house. Sweet potatoes and cabbage salad. So that's what I had before I left, and I was satisfied, feeling confident. So anyways, we get to the restaurant. We ended up having a wonderful experience. We were blessed with probably the best server I've ever had in my entire life. And so he was just awesome, over the top, just amazing. I was able to tough it out. I won't lie, the food smelled and looked, amazing. Everybody else was feasting around me, but I've talked about that a lot on my channel, that, you just kind of have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable sometimes, because that feeling doesn't last forever, So I am getting very good, with being disciplined enough that I just won't eat it, but I also don't deprive myself of the social aspect of it, right? Because I don't want to miss out on being invited out for dinner or going to birthday celebrations and stuff like that. So I always say, never decline an invite just because of how you eat. Just prepare for it and you'll be fine. So anyways, so everything was going good. Got into a good conversation with my server, and then I ended up asking him about the marinara sauce, because their marinara sauce is hands down one of the best I've ever had. In fact, I don't even really care that much about marinara sauce, but theirs is like something else. So I asked him, I said, is there any oil or any high fat in the sauce? And he's like, I actually really don't think that there is. He said, I know for sure that the pizza sauce, it has no fat in it at all. It's literally just tomato paste and a bunch of fresh herbs and stuff like that they use. And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that the marinara sauce is the same. He's like, there's no fat in it. So he was really confident. So anyways, so I ended up having just like a couple spoonfuls of the marinara because I wasn't eating it with really anything. So just to taste it. So that was fine, no problem. So anyways, everybody had, takeout containers to come home, all that stuff. So anyways, he had packaged up some of this marinara sauce for me, which I was super excited because I was already trying to think like, what I will use this marinara sauce on, whether it's potatoes or whatever. Honestly, it's so good. You could literally just eat it by itself. So anyways, so that was part one of the story. So bring this marinara sauce home. So the following night was my brother's birthday celebration. So my husband and I had plans to go out with him to celebrate his birthday. And I had said to my husband, once again, I'm going to make sure that I eat well before we go out because there's no way in the world that I'm ordering anything when we do go out. I've just become a lot less trustworthy of my food and like other people preparing it. So I just honestly really do a good job at just bringing food with me or eating before I go somewhere. So once again, don't like to miss out on the party, but I just go prepared. So anyways, so I did just that. I had my dinner before we went. My husband's like, are you sure you don't want anything? Can I get you even like a mocktail, just anything? And I'm like, nothing. Like I literally don't want to order anything. I am good with just water. So my husband got me bottles of water all night long. I probably had, 3 to 5 bottles somewhere in there. I just literally sipped on water all night. Feeling super proud of myself, might I add. Wrapped up the night. It was a nice night out with my family and my brother's friends. And came home and I was super hungry by the time I got home. It was really late and I just could not wait to eat. But that's fine because again, I didn't touch any food when we were out. So I was like, yep, we're doing this. Like before bed or not, I don't care. I'm gonna eat something. So I come home and I make myself a sandwich and I have this really nice sprouted bread that I use. It's super low fat. I think there's 1 gram of fat for 2 slices. It's like thinner slices. Anyways, if I do have a sandwich, I prefer to make it on this type of bread. So I make myself this small sandwich and I end up having marinara sauce with it as well. And keep in mind, I'm like super hungry and the container is probably like, like about that big for the marinara sauce. So anyways, there was about 3/4 of the marinara sauce in this container and I finished almost the whole thing. I think there was just like a tiny bit at the bottom. It was delicious. And so here I'm thinking I'm having this super low fat sandwich and this no fat marinara sauce, and felt amazing. So had the sandwich, got myself to bed. So I was in bed for about 45 minutes or so, and then I woke up and I just didn't feel right. I felt something kind of off in my stomach. And so I ended up my husband was still awake actually. So I ended up kind of telling him and just sitting with him, sipping on some water. And so now fast forward to, I think it was maybe around 6:30 in the morning. I am in the most excruciating pain I have ever felt in my life. I've never felt anything like it. So now I'm having severe pain, which I was identifying as having a gallbladder attack, although this one felt different than any other gallbladder attack I've ever had. So this one I could literally feel my gallbladder vibrating or something, like rattling inside of me. And my chest, like the center of my chest, along with, under the right rib cage and around my back was so tight, like I could not even breathe properly. And so I also suffer from PVCs, which have been totally under control for, I would say, I don't even know, the last 3-4 months or so. I have done so well that I almost forgot that I even have them. Well, during this episode that I was experiencing, my PVCs were going out of control. So I am sitting here questioning, what is happening with me? Am I actually having a heart attack right now? So I was trying to keep calm and just kind of reassure myself that, it's probably just a gallbladder attack. It's going to end in, maybe 10 minutes or so. I've had gallbladder attacks in the past, and that was actually one of the motivating reasons of dropping all my overt fats initially, was to, improve my gallbladder health. And then weight loss just came as a huge, easy side effect by doing that. So if you follow me, then you already know that part of my story. And if you don't, and you want to hear the full part of, my weight loss story, then I will have a bunch of videos posted in my description box below that you can check those out after. However, so I'm no stranger to a gallbladder attack. So I'm just telling myself that that's what's probably happening. It'll be over in about 10 minutes. 10 minutes came and gone in the blink of an eye, and let me tell you, it was nowhere near over. It was just getting started. So my dear husband, of course, he was with me the whole time. Honestly, he's my rock. Like, I don't even know what I would do without this man. He was beside me. He was even praying out loud for me. He was probably just as concerned, maybe even more concerned than I was when he saw me in that state. And I should also add that it was our 7th anniversary that day. So happy anniversary, babe. But at any rate, he was beside me and he just kept saying, don't worry, it'll be over soon. And I'm saying something doesn't feel right. Like, it's not stopping. It's not going away. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me what had happened, because I'm thinking to myself, like, I just had a small, super healthy sandwich when I came home. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I've been so on track. I've been doing so well with my eating. Everything's been really great with me. So I just couldn't connect the dots. I could not figure out what had went wrong. But when I was in this state, I had no time to even, consider those things at that point. So anyways, my pain ended up progressing, and I don't know if I can honestly say that I've ever experienced a level 10 pain until that day. I've had other, attacks in my life as well. So I'm no stranger to pain. And I don't know if I have a high pain tolerance or what it was, but I can honestly say that that night I would have told you that my pain was definitely at a level 10, and in some moments maybe even an 11. Like, it was honestly so bad. So at any rate, time is going. I really don't know how much time has passed, but I know it's been a long time. I know it's been well over 10 minutes. So in my mind, I was thinking it had been about an hour or so. And so I said to my husband, I said, something is really wrong. Like, this, I don't know what's happening. And keeping in mind, I was feeling a lot of pain in the center of my chest. So it was really freaking me out that, was it a heart attack? Which in, the logical side of my thinking is saying, like, that doesn't make any sense, because I know that I'm not at high risk for heart attack just through all my blood work. And, I eat very, very clean. So it's not typically something that I worry about, but hey, you never know. You just never know if the doctors didn't catch something or whatever. So it came the point that my husband looked at me and he said, do you need to call an ambulance? And I said, I think you do. And I've never been in an ambulance in my life. I've never had that type of, an emergency type of situation, but it had escalated to this point. So funny side story. So as we've decided that it's now time to call the ambulance, I was not properly dressed. So I had my night clothes on and I was in so much pain. It was crippling pain. Like, I couldn't even move. Like, I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. Any position I was in, I tried laying flat on the floor. I was on all 4 knees, rocking back and forth like in labor. I was bent over my couch. It was so horrifying because there was no position that would take the edge off a little bit, like no position at all. So anyways, so I tell him I need some clothes. So my husband goes and tries to find me clothes. Well, I told him to grab me these one pair of shorts that I have because they're super loose and I couldn't have any pressure, like, at all. Like, even if my husband was like this, I'm like, no, don't touch me. Like, it was so bad. So anyways, so he goes and grabs these shorts that I tell him to get that are super loose on me now. So he grabs those, but I'm thinking, well, it's winter out and I'm going to be wheeled out, in an ambulance. So I need something warmer. So I said, I need something to go over these. So he goes and grabs me a pair of his jogging pants, and, the whole time I couldn't even get myself dressed. He's having to shimmy these jogging pants over the shorts. I've got my nightie on, with all of this. And then I was like, grab me a sweater or something. So he brings me one of my hoodies. So he puts the hoodie over my nightie as well as my jogging pants and these shorts. So let me tell you, it was fashion of all fashion. So anyways, so I end up calling my mom at this point. I don't know what time it was actually, but it was the morning, and I'm calling her on my phone, and I told her, I said, Mom, I think I need to go to the hospital, just whatever words I could get out. There was a lot of screaming going on at this point because the pain had actually escalated to the point that I was crying out. It was very bad. So my mom calls the ambulance for me, and they're, her and my husband are trying to make the arrangements about the kids because my husband wanted to come with me. So all of that happened. Ambulance comes, they come to get me. honestly, like someone, I don't know, my friend or someone had asked me, like, what did the ambulance like look like inside, or how was that? I couldn't even tell you because my eyes were literally closed the entire time. I was in that much like gnarly pain. Like I was just eyes closed, thrusting back and forth like my head, screaming like, are we almost there? Let me tell you something about myself. I never like to take medication, like never. Like it's almost annoying to my family members, the level of which I will not take medication, which, makes me think maybe I do have high pain tolerance. Even, recovering from my C-section with my son, I didn't even want to take Advil. Like I just toughed it out. So I'm on this level. I just try not to take it unless I really, really need to. Well, I was in that ambulance, like begging for them to give me morphine, fentanyl, whatever they wanted to give me, as long as they promised that it could take the pain away. It was the longest ride of my life. So, my eyes were closed and I didn't actually see anything in the ambulance. It just felt like it took forever. And I just remember screaming and crying and, just asking, are we almost there? So we finally got there. And I was too afraid to look at the machines. I remember that too. That was another reason why I kept my eyes closed, because machines were beeping and everything, and I was too scared to see why they were beeping. Sure, my blood pressure was through the roof at that point. So anyways, we get to the hospital, and I was so fortunate. The nurse actually said that this was the first time in years that she had seen the emergency room that empty. Just perfect timing. So they were able to get me right into the emergency room. Let me tell you, I was literally the loudest person in that emergency room. I was screaming and crying. The pain was so bad. Now, one little part that I forgot was when they had to strap me down to put me into the ambulance, I was on a level 11 at that point because, I don't know, it was just the pressure of the seatbelt and my legs being strapped down. And they had to put me flat a few times. And so I guess being like flat on my back, it did escalate the pain. And there was something they could really do about it. And then all the bumps, like as we were driving to the hospital, made the pain worse as well. So I was in more pain by the time I reached the hospital. So at this point, I'm screaming. I'm crying in a way, I couldn't even tell you the last time I cried like that. Maybe when my dad died. That's probably the last time. Oh, that makes me really sad. But anyways, yeah, so I was screaming and crying, and the nurse had come in, and of course they were trying to take my vitals and everything. And I said, I think I'm having a gallbladder attack, but I'm not even sure anymore. I said, my chest is tight. I can't breathe. Doctor came in and he also tried asking me questions. I couldn't even talk. Like that's how much pain we're talking. I couldn't even answer his questions. And at this point, I'm feeling the need to vomit. I'm extremely nauseous. So now I have, the little basket to vomit in. And I'm retching. I never vomit. Like I can count on less than 2 hands how many times I've vomited in my entire life, like pregnancy included, childhood included. I rarely ever get sick. And even when I do, it's just, I can feel like I need to vomit, but my body actually doesn't vomit. I don't know if any of you guys are like that, but it takes a lot for me to vomit. Well, don't I start vomiting? I'm retching, it's like my soul was leaving my body. I don't even know how to convey my story in words for what the experience actually felt like, but hopefully I'm doing a good job without being too graphic, but I'm retching at this point. And the doctor says, you know what, don't even worry about it. He's like, just, are you allergic to any medicines? And have you taken any medicines? So I think those were the 2 questions he asked, and he left. So I'm alone. My husband was on his way in an Uber to meet me there. And then finally I vomited. And that was it. The pain just instantly stopped. I couldn't believe it. Like I was sitting there waiting for the pain to just start up again. The pain stopped, like full stop. I went from a 10, dropped down to a 1 instantly. I literally couldn't believe it. Like I could not believe that the pain just stopped like that. So the nurse was actually on her way to get all my meds and everything. Like she hadn't even been back to give it to me. And when she walked to the room, I was like, actually, I'm not in pain anymore. And that's the first time she probably actually really, truly heard my voice. And I was like, I'm not in pain anymore. And she's like, oh no. She's like, oh, that's excellent. I said, I vomited. I said, the pain just stopped instantly. She's like, okay, well, we should probably still give you the medicine just, to be proactive just in case. And I'm like, I honestly don't think that it will act up again. I said, but yeah, you can go ahead if you want. At that point, I was so drained and like, it was just such a crazy, painful experience. I was just not even up for debate about anything. So I was like, yeah, go do whatever you want. So anyways, so that was kind of the bulk of what happened. To kind of fast track the rest of it, obviously the husband got there. They ran a bunch of tests on me. They did an ultrasound. The stone wasn't stuck. I met a super awesome technologist that did my ultrasound, and she asked about my channel and stuff like that. So if you ended up checking me out and you happen to be seeing this, you were amazing. And just want to say that all the healthcare workers, they can make or break someone's experience. And when you're scared and in pain and not feeling well, a friendly face and a friendly conversation goes a long way. So thank you if you were watching. But anyway, so we did the ultrasound and she was able to get the stone to move. She did a couple maneuvers with me and was able to let me know that the stone did move. So it wasn't stuck, which is really great news. And actually all of my blood work came back perfect. I think it was only like 10 minutes after the pain dropped from like that 10 to 1 that they came to retake my blood pressure. And I had perfect blood pressure. It was 120/74. Which the nurse was like, oh, your blood pressure is like perfect, especially like just coming out of all that extreme pain. So all my blood work came back perfect. So the doctor just basically said that, that it was a gallbladder attack, a very severe one. He said that you were not looking good when you came in here. The nurse had told me that my whole body was shaking. I wasn't even aware. Like that's how much pain I was in. I wasn't even aware that my whole body was like shaking like that. And he said he felt so sorry for me and that they would be taking me down for surgery if all of my results had come back that there was like infection or that there was inflammation in my gallbladder, which there was neither. He said that in fact, all my blood work came back like perfect. So at that point, he was just telling me, he's like, you already know what to eat. So he said, you know how to manage the attacks by, your food, as well as, he could refer me out to a surgeon and, and then just to take like, 2 extra strength Tylenol and 1 extra strength Advil if the attack happens again. He said that won't cure the pain, but it'll take the edge off. So anyway, or to come back if it ever gets that bad again. So I end up finding out that the attack lasted for 2 hours and 40 minutes of the most agonizing, nonstop pain I've ever felt in my life. With labor, you get those breaks, right? There were no breaks with this. It was just from the moment it started to the moment it finished, nonstop, intense pain. So 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I would have told you that it was maybe about an hour. So at any rate, I was discharged. I didn't sleep a wink. So basically pulled an entire all-nighter, suffered through all that pain. We make our way home. My mom and sister at my place because they were helping with the kids. And so we get home and everyone's sitting down to eat. The doctor told me just clear fluids for the rest of the day. So I'm sipping on my water, everyone else eating. And my mom and sister and I started talking and my mom said, she's like, I just don't understand like what could have caused that level of pain for you. And I said, I have no idea, like could not wrap my head around it now that I was actually able to think clearly, right? So, and my mom said, I actually remember back in the day when we would go, seeing the oil almost brimming like in the marinara sauce like that they would bring out. And I said, actually I kind of remember that too. And then my sister chimed in and she's like, yeah, I remember that too. And my mom said, do you still have some left over? I said, yeah, I have a little bit. She goes, bring it out. Let's see if we can see if it looks like that, if it has like oil in it, like separating from it, like that type of thing. So I said, yeah, good idea. So we bring it out, we have a look at this sauce. We don't see any oil. It doesn't look like it's like, got a ton of oil in it or anything like that. So I was like, no, it doesn't really look like it. And then my mom said, I know, let's grab like a paper towel or a Kleenex or something and dab it in and we'll see. You'll be able to see if there's oil on it. Let me tell you, there was a ton of oil on this Kleenex. Like so much so that just when we touched the Kleenex like that, the oil that rubbed off onto our fingertips was in abundance. Like it was crazy. And I said, ain't that something? Like there's my answer right there. That is what happened to me. So while I trusted that, that this awesome server, again, I don't blame him. It's not his fault. It was just an accident, misinformation, misunderstanding. But I trusted his word, instead of just, erring on the side of caution that there was no oil and no fat in this marinara sauce. And there was a ton of fat in this sauce. And might I add, not even like a healthy fat. We're talking like the garbage of the garbage oils that they use in restaurants type of fat, like vegetable oil type of fat. So while I thought that I was eating an oil-free or very, very low-fat marinara sauce, it ended up being an intensely high-fat one. And looking back on that, I feel, a little bit silly, like I should have known better, or I should have been able to taste it. But truthfully speaking, I didn't taste it. I genuinely thought, kind of like salsa has no fat in it. It's like that. Like I just genuinely thought that it was kind of like a salsa type of thing, that it had no fat in it. But I was feeling upset and relieved all at the same time when I figured out exactly what had caused it, that it was the marinara sauce. It brought a lot of relief to me in the sense that it didn't make sense what had brought on such a severe attack. So at least I have that, that now I know why I suffered for 2 hours and 40 minutes. So anyways, you can never be too sure. So for now, for a very long time, I'm just gonna be sticking to, what I normally do, and that is just prepare my own food and, keep my health in check and, stay on my weight loss track as well. I'm currently down about 50 pounds, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video. I actually haven't weighed myself in quite some time. The last time I checked, it was 47 pounds. So I don't know, based on how my clothes are fitting, I'm gonna say that I'm probably still around the same or maybe a couple pounds less. I don't really care, not a big deal. I'm super, super happy about the 50-pound weight loss at this point. I still have probably about another 20 to 30 pounds to get off, so I'm not done. So I'm still, eating super low fat, eating super clean, eating super healthy. So if you're also on a plant-based weight loss journey or any weight loss journey, and you want to follow along mine and get all my recipes and tips and tricks about, how I'm getting this weight off, then I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you stick around. And of course, if you have been following me, I would love to hear how all you guys are doing, how you're making out, how you're even using my recipes, and how it's going for you. So be sure to drop it in the comments. I love reading them. Even if I can't respond to every single one, I do read them all and appreciate them all. So that's my story about what happened to me, and just to finish it off, I'll say that I've been doing well ever since. My gallbladder is still a little bit sensitive, but I'm hanging in there, and I'm sure everything will be under control, like it was before. I know how to get myself there through, my diet and the healthy foods that I eat, so really confident that I'll get there again. But that was just a costly accident that I ended up, paying for dearly, so I'm glad it's done, and I'm glad that everything's okay right now. So anyways, this ended up being super long, but I just wanted to share the story from the beginning to the end. And again, don't forget to check out that awesome book sale. All my books are only $5 right now with super simple, amazing weight loss recipes. So again, that link can be found in my description box below. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and we will see you all in the next one.